The first thing I remember was the sound. Sharp, metallic, and cold, 3 distinct knocks against the wooden door that echoed through the quiet afternoon. My heart dropped into my stomach before I even reached the entryway. Through the narrow slit of the curtain, I saw the blue glint of badges, the glimmer of holstered weapons, and the reflection of sunlight off mirrored sunglasses. For a split second, I wondered if I'd done something wrong, if maybe this was some horrible misunderstanding. But the second I saw Karen, standing at the end of my driveway with her arms folded and a smug little smirk plastered across her face, I knew exactly what this was about. The HOA, the same HOA that had been harassing me for months over the smallest, most ridiculous things. The same people who said my mailbox was too modern for the community's colonial aesthetic. The same ones who fined me $200 because my trash cans were visible for 8 minutes past pickup time. I'd thought they couldn't sink lower. I was wrong. I opened the door slowly, both hands visible, because when 3 armed officers are at your doorstep in broad daylight, you don't take chances. "Mr. Harris?" the lead officer asked. His tone was sharp, formal. He was mid-40s, with a square jaw and a posture that screamed command. "We received a report of a disturbance and possible aggression toward HOA board members." I blinked. Aggression? Toward them? I haven't even spoken to them in weeks. The officer didn't look convinced. His eyes darted past me, scanning the living room like he expected to find someone tied up in the corner. "Mind if we come in?" "I do mind," I said firmly. "Unless you have a warrant." That got his attention. His gaze hardened, but before he could say anything, Karen's shrill voice cut through the autumn air. "He threatened us," she shouted from the sidewalk. "We have emails. He said we'd regret it if we didn't stop bothering him." Her voice carried, loud enough for my neighbors to peek out from behind curtains in half-open garages. I could feel their eyes on me, judgmental, curious, fearful. The HOA president's words twisted like poison in the air. The officer sighed. "Sir, can you step outside, please?" I could have refused. I should have. But I knew how this game was played. The HOA had connections, friends in local law enforcement, family members on the board. If I resisted, I'd be painted as uncooperative, maybe even dangerous. So I stepped out, hands still raised slightly. The sun was blinding. I could feel it burning against my neck as I faced the 3 officers and the woman who had made my life a living hell for the past 6 months. Karen, HOA president extraordinaire. Always perfectly coiffed, always dressed like she was running for office, and always armed with her little clipboard of complaints. She strutted closer, her heels crunching against my gravel driveway. "We warned you, Michael. We gave you every opportunity to comply with the community standards." I clenched my jaw. "This is harassment, and you know it." Her smile was thin and venomous. "You brought this on yourself." The officers didn't say much after that. They just checked the property to make sure everything was in order, then left with a few parting warnings about maintaining civility with the HOA board. But the damage was done. My neighbors avoided me after that. Even my mailman looked uneasy. Word spread fast in Meadowbrook Estates that the guy in house number 22 was unstable, hostile, a problem. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was afraid of what they'd do next, but because I was tired of letting them win. That was the moment I decided, if they wanted a war, they'd get one. But it would be on my terms. The next morning, I started digging. Not literally, though part of me wanted to. I started with public records, then property deeds, then HOA financial filings, which, by law, are supposed to be open to all community members. What I found didn't just surprise me. It infuriated me. The HOA had been overcharging residents for maintenance fees that didn't exist, phantom landscaping projects, fake security upgrades, and legal consultations with firms that had no online presence. It was a slush fund, pure and simple. And Karen was at the center of it. But I couldn't go public yet. I needed proof, solid, undeniable, shut them down evidence. So I bided my time, collected screenshots, recorded conversations, even caught a few late-night meetings on my outdoor cameras where HOA members came and went like conspirators. And then came the break. An email chain between Karen and a contractor, discussing bonus payments for approving inflated bids on community repairs. The smoking gun. I printed everything, organized it into a neat binder, and called for a special HOA meeting. According to their own bylaws, any member could request one with 48-hour notice. When the evening came, the community clubhouse was packed. Karen sat at the head of the table, looking confident and composed, like a queen addressing her subjects. "Mr. Harris," she said with fake sweetness, "you've been quite vocal lately. What is this meeting about?" I placed the binder on the table with a heavy thud. "Transparency," I said, "or the lack of it." Her eyes narrowed. "Excuse me," I started slow, letting the words build weight as I spoke. "Over the past 6 months, you've accused me of violating rules, harassed me, and even called the police on false pretenses. But while you were so busy policing mailboxes and lawn heights, you were also, how should I put it, mismanaging community funds." Murmurs rippled through the room. Karen's smile faltered. "That's a serious accusation. So's embezzlement." I flipped open the binder and began reading aloud: emails, invoices, payment logs. One by one, her allies started to pale. A few even stood up and left before I was done. By the time I finished, the room was dead silent. Karen tried to laugh it off. "This is fabricated. He's just using your own emails," I interrupted, sliding one toward her. "Dated, time-stamped, verified from your official HOA account." She froze. Someone in the back of the room started clapping. Then another. And another. By the end of the night, the board had voted for an emergency audit, and to suspend Karen's presidency pending investigation. She left the room without a word, her heels no longer clicking confidently, but dragging. You'd think that would be the end of it. That the story would fade into a simple tale of justice served. But HOA drama rarely ends neatly. 2 weeks later, I woke up to find my car vandalized. Tires slashed, paint keyed, windows smashed. No cameras had caught it, but I didn't need proof to know who was behind it. I filed a report, but the officer who showed up just sighed. "Sorry, sir. No witnesses, no leads." I wanted to believe the system would handle it. But after what happened before, I knew better. So I took a different route. I sent every document, every email, every piece of evidence, not just to the local authorities, but to the county auditor, the newspaper, and even a real estate watchdog blog that specialized in HOA corruption. Within a week, Meadowbrook Estates wasn't just a quiet suburb anymore. It was a headline: "Local HOA under investigation for fraud and harassment." Karen tried to spin the story, but the audit results sealed her fate. Tens of thousands in unaccounted expenses, bribes, falsified receipts. She was removed, fined, and later charged. When the dust settled, the same police officers who had once stood on my porch with their hands on their holsters came back, this time, to serve her a warrant. I watched from my living room window as she was led away, eyes wide with disbelief, her once perfect composure shattered. The same neighbors who had whispered about me now stood outside in silence. Some even nodded as I stepped out to grab my mail. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I just watched as justice finally caught up with her. But deep down, I knew one thing for sure: no one would ever weaponize the HOA against me again. Not after what happened that day. Not after the world saw what really went on behind those pristine, white picket fences. Because the truth is, the HOA didn't just send cops to my house to intimidate me. They sent them to silence me. And they failed.